teach the art.
You still they never had this.
Number one, never wanna run about the gun. I wasn't licensed to have one. The minute they see me, fear me. I'm the epitome of public enemy. Use, abuse without clues. I refuse to blow fuse. They even had it on the news.
Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype.
Back when I wrote y'all, yes.
First of all, let me just say publicly to you as well, I'm so proud. I love driving around because I'm a listener. I pay for my Sirius like the rest of y'all. I'll be listening and yelling at the radio, calling up, not getting through, or calling up and being confused when the phone picks up. And I'm like, what am I listening to? It's very confusing when you call up as a caller. But I appreciate y'all being vigilant. You yesterday, sir, playing this Biden clip and all of the, what has he done for black people stuff. It kind of, an 80-something-year-old white man who has spent his life in these spaces not being a super racist, when he says you ain't really black if you don't vote for me, to him, he felt that. Like, how y'all gonna not pick me over Trump? Really? Like, it was a misspeak for sure.
Yeah. For
you being in that room, though, or outside, because it was outside, it was a beautiful event. It looked like the sun was popping. What did you understand? You were invited to the first ever White House brunch in celebration of Black excellence. Who started this? How did it happen? And you got an invite, so that must have been amazing.
Well, I will say, first of all, because like all of us at Urban View, we care about Black businesses. We care about building community, as every community should. So the Black Excellence Brunch was started by Trell Thomas. He's the CEO and founder of Black Excellence Brunch. And they threw this event at the White House on the South Lawn. This was all their event. So I don't know how much of money they got, but obviously the White House personally invested in the CEO and founder of Black Excellence Brunch. I believe it began in 2017 in LA, and it kind of just expanded from there. So the minute you walked in, you really saw that this wasn't some, and I've been to the White House before, it wasn't some standard, White House event. This truly was created by an amazing entrepreneur. And, listen, not to run down stats, but we've had the SBA back Black businesses double since the Biden-Harris administration has gotten into office. So it really was a celebration. I saw some folks say, oh, why are we doing this? Why are they celebrating? You know what? Mississippi, every April, celebrates Confederate Heritage Month under the Governor Tate Reeves of Mississippi. That's what they're celebrating. And I don't see no Byron Jim Crow Donalds or Cotton to Congress Tim Scott or Wesley Hunt or any of them complaining about that. This was literally a celebration of the importance of Black media, Black journalists who are oftentimes overlooked, who do not get access. So you really kind of felt the love in the space. It really meant something. There were a lot of folks there who showed up and showed out. Laura Coates was there as well. I was really honored and humbled. And, listen, it's been an amazing year for me. I've been very blessed. And so to have that kind of celebration, it was beautiful. First ever. And listen, let's be clear. Folks, it's pandering. Damn. So anytime Obama or Biden or God willing, Kamala Harris does anything centered on Black folks, it's pandering. Don't we want BLACK? Don't we want Black? Don't people ask for specifics? And thankfully in this administration, hasn't been perfect, but we had the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. He's appointed more, this is so important to me. Dr. Greg Carr always talks about this. He's appointed more judges to the federal bench than any other president in history combined, Black judges, I meant to say. Those things are important. The courts may be our only guardrails to protect this country that we're in. So listen, I thought it was really beautiful, and it wasn't just Black folks there, it wasn't segregated, like I've seen some folks say on the other side. It was a beautiful celebration of journalists and media and content creators. And I just walked away like, I just feel really proud of how far we've come.
I feel like the difference, is for me, and the reason why I'm excited is because, usually even with Obama, there was this touch me not. There was like this kind of shield around him, and it was like a wall. I feel like Kamala Harris being vice president has been accessible this
Yeah.
whole time, as the surrogate to Biden. And before that in the Senate. So there's a wall that was broken through where I feel like she's been in the room with, Earn Your Leisure, had them over to her house for dinner. No one talks about these things. But she's, I mean, not just sitting with Uncle Luke and these other people and Ricky Smiley. Before that, she has had people at her home to have these kind of conversations for years.
Yeah.
So there's no mystique around her in terms of like this bubble of, and they want to hear, they want to listen to people. I haven't seen this, and I've been in journalism, for
Yeah.
damn near 30 years. There's always this, these gatekeepers and these barriers to entry for media. And I was at, the Daily News. So I'm coming in at a, mainstream thing. But now media is different.
Yeah.
And the fact that they even recognize the Kennys of the world and the Reese, the folk that are doing media differently.
Not legacy
is-
media completely. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Roland was there. I mean, to me, it says something about the possibilities again. Can we work with her?
Yeah.
I think we can. And that's important. No, we're not going to agree. Matter of fact, we should come in ready to be like, no. Here's what we want, and be loud and, not disrespectful, but definitely loud and demanding.
And you talked about it yesterday, Karen, when she was at NABJ in Philadelphia. They were pushing back. They were jumping in and, pushing back and asking tough questions. And that's what you do. There's this horrible notion that we as black folks in media, that we aren't critical thinkers, that we just stand behind Democrats, which is a lie because the largest voting bloc is the non-voter. Even when I saw you played the Jill Stein clips, babbling on the Breakfast Club, if you are running for president, no question is off limits. And for you to start crying white supremacy when you're the only white person in the room, at least on camera, is really rich to me. You know what I mean? I interviewed Hill Harper, who is running for Senate in Michigan, and I, asked him tough questions. You have no political experience. Why not do city council? Why not do the school board? Why not do state house, state senate? I asked him tough questions. So we're going to always do that, but there's a perception that we don't. And so there were people on that South Lawn that had tough interviews with President Joe Biden, and they were still invited. So listen, it was really beautiful. And again, Trell Thomas, through the event, founder and CEO of Black Excellence Brunch, I really appreciated it. And it was beautiful, man. It was really, really beautiful.
So yesterday, your last hour, you delved into the crime bill. There's a lot of misinformation. The misinformation this cycle is stunning, actually.
Stunning.
But I'm also kind of sad at how many of us are repeating it. Everything from, she locked up black people to he locked up black people. To, it's like, okay, where are we getting this information? Oh, and it's like the talking points are very specific. Your masterclass yesterday, what inspired you to do that?
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for that. So September 13th, 1994 marked the 30th anniversary of the crime reform bill being signed. And so I've been thinking about this for a minute. I like doing my history segments and I do it on anniversaries. So I said, okay, I really want to unpack the crime reform bill, knowing that it starts really with Richard Nixon. I really want to unpack this war on crime and war on drugs and what it looked like. So I did a deep dive because, to your point, Karen, people are just spitting out slogans. Well, what about this? And I don't want this. And what about that? What about that? Not knowing context or history. And one of the things that I broke down about the 94 crime reform bill, I was 17 when that bill became law, is that people forget the context of what was happening in the country. It was horrific. And so I broke down what happened, the young people who were killed, and how media hysteria, see, we can learn from 30 years ago. If you don't like that bill, how media hysteria, how political hysteria can turn into policy. can turn into policy. So they create lies, they spit out propaganda, you get a crime reform bill. You create a story like J.D. Vance admitted to doing. What happens when you create stories? You have Rosewood. You have Black Wall Street being burnt down. You have Emmett Till. That's what happens when you create stories, and then powerful people co-sign those stories. And then they are looking to have some disturbing, sickening immigration policies. And don't think it'll just impact Haitians. Somebody might think you are Haitian. They might think one of your kids are Haitian. So I wanted to remind people how we got there. If you hate that bill, if you can't stand it, then at least know how we got there, and know there were people in my hometown of West Philadelphia, in Jersey, calling for more police, calling for harsher sentences. LA. All over, calling for it. Those movies, New Jack City, Boys in the Hood, that wasn't just, a great screenwriter. It was what crack cocaine was doing to our communities. And there was a pressure, do something now. So it's an hour long, it's on the app. I should have did video, but it's an hour long and it took me like weeks to research it. But this is important. It's important to have context of what these things mean and not just spit out slogans. So thank you for that, Karen. I've gotten so much love around it. I really appreciate it.
Listen,
that's the great thing about this platform.
I was going to say, it is the proudest that to be able to give voice, or to give a platform to people like you and Laree. I was driving around listening to her this morning going, oh my God, because y'all are going to do the kind of work that we need, right? And it's specific, not everyone's doing this. Unfortunately, no one's really doing this. There's a lot of folk out there, they got their little segments and things, but the deep dives that are happening on Urban View, they don't really happen anyplace else at this level. And this real journalist, like Clay's a real journalist. I'm a recovering former journalist, but I still have the chops. And what Laree does at Medgar Evers College and the Center for Law and Social Justice is God's work. So I just feel like we have something really special here. Those of you who tune in every day, thank you, because we are able to do this because of y'all.
Can I share something with you? And I was going to say this on my show, but I'm going to say it with you. I was at a barbecue this weekend. I'm at a barbecue, trying to get my barbecue on. And politics comes up. And I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. I'm just trying to eat some barbecue chicken.
My ribs.
Right. And I have this conversation with these two guys. One's from Alabama, one's from Texas. And we're chopping it up and I'm explaining the book to him. And it was a cool conversation. There was some kind of pushback. And one of the dudes, I think the one from Alabama, the guy who threw the barbecue, he called me later and he said, I'm not going to say his name. He said, but my friend was so happy that he heard that conversation because he was listening to you guys talk and listening to me talk specifically. And he said to himself, I have a master's degree. I'm a Black man living in the South. And I couldn't even jump into this conversation because I didn't understand how civics worked. Some of the A's and B's y'all were talking about, I wasn't even aware of. And he said, that really activated me. In 2020, Karen, he was in Georgia. He didn't vote. Now he's either Texas or Alabama, I forgot which one. But he bought my book. He's got an Urban View. And he said, wow, that conversation I don't want to be misinformed like that. So little moments like that, you never know when you're activating somebody. You never know when you manage to engage somebody. And he sat back and said, I got a master's degree. And when y'all were talking about the House and the Senate, he said, I didn't know any of that. I didn't know the basics. So, that's what we're here for. And hopefully he'll vote, or he will vote now, churn up and churn out. And that's part of the reason why I do the work that I do. And he heard that show yesterday. And he said, oh, the crime reform, that began with Ronald Reagan and with the 1986 Anti-Drug Abuse Act. Richard Nixon said that I'm going to wage a war against Black people and connect Black folks to heroin. Like, really? These are things that are important because then once you know, then you can be critical of the right things. Then you can really hold somebody accountable because now you know. Now you know, oh, wait a minute. Oh, Biden didn't put in the three strikes and you're outlaw. That was Trent Lott, a Republican senator in Mississippi. Oh my gosh, I didn't know. Like now that you got, now, then you can, now the things he did put in, you can call him out for. But if you want to call somebody out, you got to know what they did wrong and what they did right, you know?